Hi everyone, welcome back yet once again. Page 127, we are still in Module 1. We are on Topic 3, and we are in Lesson 2. And this is the introduction, our learning goals, estimate decimals, decimal sums and differences, use the standard algorithm to add and subtract decimals. That just means the traditional way that we add and subtract. Review, 1 to 2 minutes is all this should take. Rewrite one number in each pair so that each has the same number of digits after the decimal point. So pause the video and do that, please. If you're confused, I'll do the first one for you, and then you can pause. So 4.60 and 5.08. So instead of 4 and 6/10, we now have 4 and 60/100 to go along with our 5 and 8/100. They both now have 2 digits after the decimal point. Go ahead and hit pause and you finish that, please, and then come back. Okay, so in number 2, it's 17 and 602 thousandths, and then we have 9 and 2/10. So in our first number, we have 3 digits after the decimal, so we need 3 digits after the decimal here. So 9.200. Remember, we can add as many zeros as we want to the end of the number, and it doesn't change the value of that number. Okay, so number 3, 25 and 77,000. So when you read these decimal numbers, you read the digits just like there was no decimal point. You just read the number. So 77. And then you look at what place value it's in. This one is 3 after the decimal, so it's the thousandths place. And then you add that place value name. So 25 and, the decimal point is and, 77 thousandths. Then we have 12 and, it's just the number 9, 12 and 9, and there's 2 digits, so it's hundredths. So this one has to the thousandths place. This one only had to the hundredths. So we need to add a 0 to the end, so it's also in the thousandths place. Okay, this one's a little bit trickier to read, but we can do this. So 2 and. Then you read the number as if it's just a normal non-decimal number, 5,467. And then we read what place value it's in. The last digit is in what place. So we have the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths, the 10,000ths. So this is read 2 and 5,467 10,000ths. And then the other number we have is 62 and 1/10. So the first number has 4 numbers after the decimal point. So we need 4 numbers after the decimal point here. So again, we can just add zeros to that. Okay, we are going to continue on because we're only 3 minutes into the video. So we're going to flip it over page 128, getting started. A bit fitter. Estimation is a helpful strategy when computing with decimals and can give you a sense of the reasonableness of a solution. Remember, I say all the time, you need to ask yourself at the end, does my answer seem reasonable? Jenny had a goal to run at least 25 kilometers each week. Her fitness app tracks the distances she runs each day and gives her a summary at the end of the week. The table shows the summary for this week. So then here's her days, and here's the kilometers that she ran. So it says round each decimal here in number 1, round each decimal value to the nearest whole number, and then estimate the total distance Jeannie ran this week. So when we're estimating to the nearest whole number, so our whole numbers are going to be all of these digits just before the decimal point in our ones place. So remember, in our rules of rounding, if the number that we're looking at to tell us what to do for the rounding is 5 or more, that's terrible looking. If it's 5 or more, we raise the number. If it's 4 or less, we keep it the same. So there's a little kind of sing-songy thing that people say, 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest. So it just does nothing, no change. So when we look at 4 and 75 hundredths, nearest whole number is the 4. So we're going to look at the digit after it tells us what to do with the 4. This one is a 7, so that goes in the 5 or more category. So that tells us to turn that 4 into a 5. It's supposed to be an arrow. So when you round to the nearest whole number, it wants just 5 as the answer. It wants just the whole number. So then we had 5 and 5/10. So our first 5 is the whole number that we're rounding to. Sorry, I want to put an underline on here. This number is telling this number what to do. So again, it's a 5. So this 5 tells this one to go up 1 higher. 6 and 25/100. The 2 is the number that tells us what to do to the 6. It's a 4 or less, so we're going to let it rest. So the 6 just stays a 6. 2 and 15/100. 2 is our whole number. The 1 tells us what to do with the 2. It's under the 4 or less category. So because 1 is less than 4, so the 2 will just remain a 2. And then Friday is 1 and 6/10. The 1 is the whole number. The 6 is the number immediately following it. It tells us what to do to the 1. It's 5 or more, so we'll raise the score so that 1 will become a 2. Then it says Samuel added, it says, and then estimate the total distance she ran. So if we're rounding allows us to estimate. And now we're just going to add these, and it'll give us a rough estimate. So 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 plus 6 is 17, 19, 21. So we're going to estimate 21 kilometers. Samuel added the distances Jenny ran and said she ran about 14 kilometers this week. Jenny knew she ran more than 14 kilometers. Did I add that right? See, right now my answer is not seeming. Oh, yeah, more than 14. Yeah, we had 21. So we're good. Jenny knew she ran more than 14 kilometers. What did Samuel do incorrectly when calculating the kilometers Jenny ran? Let's take a look. What did Samuel do? Do you see it? I'm not just going to tell you right away what he did. I mean, his numbers look nice and neat, correct? So what is wrong with this picture here? With what he did? So when you add decimals, you need to actually line up the decimal points. Because remember when we talked about comparing decimals, we said we had to look at place value versus place value. So we had to look at the same place value. If we were comparing tens, we had to look at tens. If we were comparing ones, we had to look at ones. Well, when adding and subtracting decimals, the decimal point needs to stay lined up. So what did he do wrong? Very simply, he did not line up the decimals. Okay, you can pause if you need to. Moving on, activity 1, page 129. Let's see how long this is. I'm actually going to pause there. You can hit activity 1 on the next video, please. You can find it there.